What is up, my dudes? Welcome to the channel, guys, where we turn waiver scraps into victory laps. Today's episode is my deep dive for week 4 waivers. Every single player I'm covering today is below 45% rostered on Sleeper, which means they should be available in most of your leagues. This isn't one of those where it's like 75% rostered, so very good chance. He says, this is the bottom of the barrel, guys. This is what we need to win our matchups. So let's dive right into the positions, guys, starting with quarterback. Might need a streamer. You're still, struggling from Joe Burrow or Brock Purdy. But first on the list, guys, I got Sam Darnold. He's 24% rostered. He's facing Arizona this week. Now, Darnold might not throw the ball 40 times a game, but he's playing smart football right now. And what I love about Sam is how much he's throwing the ball to JSN. He just keeps feeding him. They're really clicking out there. And Darnold and the Seahawks taking on Arizona, like I said. Cardinals have been giving up a lot of fantasy points to opposing QBs this season. Plus, Thursday night game, maybe it's not as good. I don't love doing the Thursday night games, but there's a lot of quarterbacks way worse out there. Darnold is a solid QB2, and if you're streaming, you could do way worse than a guy who's been playing efficient football, who's getting really good chemistry with his wide receivers. Next quarterback on the list, I have Matt Stafford, 30% rostered, hosting the Colts. Now, Stafford last week went 19 for 33 for 196 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick, and that crushing 33-26 loss to the Eagles. The numbers don't look amazing, I know, but here's what you need to know. The Rams left a lot of points on the board, guys. Stafford threw a pick on the opening drive. Then he had 2 drives dive in the end zone in the first half. That's fantasy points just sitting there, but he also showed you the upside, which is beautiful. He had a 44-yard bomb to Devontae Adams in the first quarter, 10-yard touchdown. So the guys throw multiple touchdowns in back-to-back games. Colts have been tough on quarterbacks. But let's look at who they've faced. They've faced Tua, Bo Nix, and Cam Ward. That's not exactly scary. So expect Stafford in this Rams offense to bounce back at home after that heartbreaking loss against Philly. All right, last QB on the list, I got Geno Smith, 23% rostered, facing Chicago. Let's talk about Geno's Week 3 game against Washington. The man completed 19 of 29 passes for 289 yards and 3 touchdowns with 0 picks. Before you get too excited, I've got to be real with you guys, though. Most of that came in garbage time, which still counts in fantasy football. But Raiders were playing catch-up, and the most interesting thing is all 3 touchdown passes went to Trey Tucker, who we'll talk about later. But that connection is worth watching, guys. Geno cleaned up his game after the 3-pick disaster in Week 2, and now he gets a Bears defense that's been one of the worst in the NFL to opposing quarterbacks. Quick honorable mention shout out, if you're really desperate, Trevor Lawrence at San Francisco. He's available in most leagues, but 49ers defense doesn't have Bosa, so that should help. So before we jump into running backs, just if you could do me a massive favor, smash that like button if you are ready to dominate your leagues. Hit subscribe for year-round fantasy football advice. Hit the bell notification, guys. We will have another live coming this Thursday. We'll be giving out some fantasy football hats, so you won't want to miss that. Yeah, remember, don't be rude, share the dudes. Handing it off to the running backs, the wild west of fantasy, guys. Running back waivers are where the dreams are made and crushed. This week, we're dealing with some messy backfields and backup guys that could pay off big time. Hopefully, you aren't trying to replace James Conner, and if you are, hopefully you were smart enough to keep Trey Benson, on your bench in the backup, to get that handcuff. Speaking of handcuffs, Blake Corum, 28% rostered, facing the Colts. Corum has put together back-to-back games with 24% of the snaps. That's moving in the right direction for a back, behind a start, but, a backup running back. If you've got the bench space, Corum needs to be on your team. Rams want to see what they have in this guy, and it's just one injury away from being really, really valuable play. Washington Commanders backfield mess. Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez. Let's be honest. The Washington backfield, it's just a complete committee. Rodriguez got 38% of the snaps. McNichols got 26% of the snaps. And JCM took 40%. This is basically like playing the lottery, but here's why you might want to try it. They're facing Atlanta. Sometimes in these messy backfields, it just takes one carry. Guy breaks loose. So if you're desperate for running backs and you need help and you need a roster spot to waste, this is a lottery ticket worth buying. Next running back, I got Ollie Gordon, 35% rostered, facing the Jets. Now this, I think, is a really smart pickup, guys. Ollie Gordon, again, one injury away from being a huge waiver ad. And let's not act like Achane is, Mr. Durable. The rookie looked better against the Bills, carrying the ball 9 times compared to Achane's 12 carries. Ollie even got a touchdown, guys. Jets run defense, it's been okay. But I'm not like saying start Gordon, but this is a backup with real upside. And I think Gordon needs to be rostered, guys. He should be way higher than 34%. All right, quick timeout, guys. Before we dive into wide receivers, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Sleeper Picks. You know that feeling when you know a player is going to go off? Well, now you can test your gut feeling with Sleeper Picks. You pick more or less on player stats, rushing yards, passing touchdowns, catches, you name it. Stack it anywhere from 2 to 8 picks, and you get them all right. You can win up to 100 times your entry fee. No rosters to manage, no lineup stress, just you versus the numbers. Head over to Sleeper, use promo code DUDES100, and they'll match your deposit up to $100. It's free money, guys. Play with the people. Sleeper's also a great place to keep your whole fantasy football league, chop leagues. I can't talk about how good Sleeper is enough. Wide receivers, the hidden league winners, guys. This is the deepest position in fantasy, which means there's always gems hiding in plain sight. Trey Tucker, 6% owned, facing Chicago. Remember when I mentioned that Geno Smith-Tucker connection? This is why it matters. Tucker just had a career best performance, and it could be the start of something special, guys. This third-year speedster came into week 3 with only 6 career touchdowns in 35 games. Then he absolutely exploded. 10-yard scores in the second quarter, plus a huge 61 touchdown bomb late in the game as the Raiders tried to come back. Here are the numbers that should get your attention. 13 catches, 211 yards, and 4 touchdowns on 20 targets through 3 weeks. That's top receiver numbers, and he's still there at 6% rostered. The matchup is great too. Chicago's defense has been one of the worst units in fantasy football this year. Tucker has a real breakout potential written all over him. Next, I got Tyquan Thornton, 7% rostered, facing Baltimore. This one comes with a warning, but hear me out. Thornton just led the Chiefs in their win over the Giants with 5 of 9 targets, 71 yards, and a touchdown. He was inches away from a second touchdown before the replay took it away. And Xavier Worthy, he's still out. Maybe he plays this week, I'm not sure. But Thornton stepped up big time and showed he can produce when given the opportunity. The problem is just if Worthy comes back. But Worthy's status for week 4 against Baltimore still isn't clear at the moment. If he sits another week, Thornton could be maybe a week 4 game changer for your, for a flex position. So the Ravens have been giving up big plays through the air. Just watch your injury report closely. Torrey Holton, 8% rostered, facing Arizona. This is the sleeper. Okay, guys, Horton finished second on the Seahawks in targets, catches, and yards this week. Doesn't sound impressive until you realize something important. He ran the same number of routes as Jackson Smith-Njigba and the same amount of routes as Cooper Kupp. 5th-round rookie has quietly put together 5 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown through 3 games. His role seems small right now, but running the same routes as their top guys suggests the Seahawks maybe are willing to give him more work. Thursday night against the Cardinals could be his breakout game. He has 2 TDs. I believe one was a punt return, and then he caught one this last week. So Cardinals have struggled against slot receivers, and if Horton gets more targets in prime time, this could be that one pickup you need. All right, CeeDee Lamb potentially out 4 weeks. Jalen Tolbert had season high in targets in the loss. Tolbert caught 3 of 6 targets for 24 yards in Sunday's loss to the Bears. Now, those numbers don't jump off the page, but those 6 targets were season high, and he's going to take a bigger role now with CeeDee Lamb out with an ankle injury. And so Tolbert, 6 for 40 on 12 targets through the game. Looks pretty weak, but if Lamb misses more time, I think Dak Prescott could look to the 4th-year receiver a lot more in week 4 against the Packers on Sunday Night Football. And that is all I have for wide receivers right there, guys. Now we got tight ends. Let's be honest, tight end streaming is not about it's just about not getting 0 points. But these 3 guys could actually help you in your matchup. First, I got Hunter Henry, 40% owned, facing the Carolina Panthers. I don't think this Panthers defense is a juggernaut. I just don't think the Falcons really truthfully, I said their coach was a bad hire, and I don't think he's a good offensive coach. He wasn't good the last time he coached the Falcons. They brought him back anyways. But I don't even know if it's Penix's fault or Kirk Cousins. I truly believe it's the coaching, guys. It's the offensive coaching. But Hunter Henry facing the Panthers. Henry was the entire Patriots offense last week, scoring both of their touchdowns on catches of 5 and 14 yards. This was, easily his best game of the season, and the target numbers suggest it wasn't just luck. Carolina's defense has struggled against tight ends all season. Henry's red zone role makes him a real touchdown threat. At 40% rostered, he might be gone in your league, but he's worth checking for, guys, because Drake May still hasn't really figured out who his guy is. He really just spreads the ball around really well, and he has that connection with Hunter Henry through the past 2 seasons. All right, maybe a little more risky, but I got Chig. Oh, man, I can never say this guy's last name for the Titans. I apologize. Chikanakwa. Let me know if I just butchered that in the comments. 30% rostered, playing at Houston. Chemistry between Chig and Cam Ward keeps getting better. The 22-year-old on the opening drive last week shows they're not afraid to use him in the game plan. 6 targets in each of his last 2 games shows a steady roll. Houston's been giving up some points to tight ends over the middle. Chig's size and speed makes him a red zone threat. All right, Brenton Strange on the list again, 30% rostered, playing against the 49ers. Strange was one of the few bright spots in the Jacksonville offense struggles, leading the team with 61 receiving yards on 6 catches. While he might not be consistent, he showed the real potential for targets, guys. 49ers defense is tough, but they also lost Bosa, so maybe this could, work out for you. Just looking back, Tier 1 must-adds, I got Trey Tucker, Blake Corum, Ollie Gordon. Tier 2 strong picks, I got Matt Stafford, Tyquan Thornton, if Worthy sits. And then desperation play, the Washington backs, Torrey Horton, and all the tight ends, guys. Remember, guys, waiver wire success isn't just about this week. It's about building for playoffs. Guys like Corum and Gordon might not help you right now, but they could be league winners. I'll see you guys on Thursday, where we have our week 4 matchups, and then Thursday night we are going live on YouTube, so be sure to get the like, give the subscribe. Really helps us out, guys. There's your week 4 waiver wire treasure map, my dudes. Let me know in the comments who you guys targeting this week. I will see you guys Thursday, and as always, take care.